Hello Tech Genius, I am Ravi. Have you ever imagined a place where learning is as dynamic as the technology shaping your world? Then here's a deal. With iMatix, you can make sure the learning is exciting, impactful right from the beginning. You have interactive sessions with expert-led courses. In the world of tech, from data science to cloud computing, it's not just about a session, it's about doing, building, learning by solving real problems. So let's get started. Yesterday we discussed dynamic client registration, right? How we can create a client dynamically into the AM. Now we need to extend these configurations. We need to see how we can read that client as well. Or we can, if we need to update that client details, right? Because we are going to the in AM console and go upon the client. Again, we can do that way but how we can do it? Via AP. I call how we can do that, how we can update the existing client, and we can see how we can delete the existing client. We need to go through these API as well for this dynamic client registration. Let's first do and then we discuss about the YTC discovery. We'll come to that. We have created a few client studies. Like to create dynamic client registration. We have this, we use this one, right? If I create new client because I need to just catch some details that I'll use for to read the client details or to update the client details, right? Now if I create a new client, right, like that, we can add bank to bank. And then bank client. This is we have created yesterday task chain. I'll send. It's just created a new client. See, if you see this detail, one of the details, we need to use it. This client details, I need to save it. This is a client registration. Now with client name, bank client image I have created. Client ID must have created from here client ID. This is the client ID which will be stored on the AM console. If I go to the AM console and refresh an application was to client and search it. I'm sorry. This one start with BBA. See, this one has just created. This one has all created. I'll just write the name bank client. Now, how we can read this client, right? We can read that client. And for reading the client, we need to have this for reading the client. We need to see one access tokens provided for after the registration of client. It's a different name. Here it comes as a registration access token something. Here it is. They provide this registration access token. With the help of this registration access token, we can read the client. It will be only applicable to read only the client because this client created all these details and after creating it, created the access token. I can use this access token to read the client details. How I can create a line details? For that I need to create a great API. Do you want to create it and test it? Or I should continue? Yes, Pranay, I will. Sure. First you need to create the client registration. We will also get practice that and then we'll read it and we'll see that how we can update the client and how we can, and then finally we can delete the client as well. Create a new request for the dynamic client registration. We need to give you, I'm making you host. Let's see if you were able to. Can you put something into the chat? I'll try to copy it. If I'm able to copy it, can you put anything? Any URL or something? Then I'll try to make you host because you're not able to copy it. I'm going to copy the stuff, right? I'll see if I can do. I can copy. You can't able to copy if I give it. Let me make you host. I make you host. Now I guess you can able to copy it. I'll give you the C if you're going to, or billing, because I guess I am not able to copy. Now we go to the Postman. And here you need to copy. First URL means the initial URL will be yours, but then both to a real /root register. They need to change the first initial one to Rajiv to some and go to Postman. And now, and make no and go to body and copy this redirect, this command and click on row. And I copied this one. Copy that. Make it post. And before that, this is the dynamic claim registration, right? We've saved that. Say, can I hit? No, don't yet. You need to update something first in or to provider setting. Go to the or to provider setting in OpenAIM. OpenAIM provider settings. Oh, sorry. Can I start my million? You need to go to the or to provider services or to provider. What to provider? Services. What to provider? And go to advanced. And do you want to go to there? Then we'll claim this right. And then we client as a system. And you need to select this one. Allow open dynamic client registration. Allow open dynamic client registration. And the sales. This will start making the allow you to create that client. Now come back to that Postman. Can I hit here? Hit now. The access token is not valid. Access is denied. And what's in there? And what do you want to? We did the access. Access token not valid. Access denied. Go to the headers once. And here at the content type right. I've given the key. I bring in here. You can copy that. Can I hit? Right now, let's see. Go to authorization once. Authorization, yep. There's nothing there, fine. Go to params. It's fine. Go to body again. Put localhost 099, G8 was 2. Everything looks fine. Should create a direct URI and direct a URI ground URI. Check values. Can you go to the host provider again? Oh, the to provider. It's complete save, right? You have. Actually, you create it in a contractor. Can you do it in a route level? Top level route level. Can I remove this one? I'm assuming. And doing the problem. it's getting. Now it's getting registered. Copy. Can you copy this into an iPad? Where can you take in? These are all. These are user defined or? No, this is a defined. This we have created. But this you can change. The value you can change. You can change the redirect URI. Anything. Redirect. URI goes to the islags. You can update that. You go to the clients or AAM console clients. AIM console. Even since point has been created there. Applications OAuth planter. This one. This, they have created this. But this whenever I'm highlighting right, this one. Sorry, you are. I'm highlighted right this one. This one. This is a client type. Client type, right? But this is not readable, right? How can they identify it there? Sorry, I don't get you. How can those guys are identified? Which guys? Clients? Many clients are there, right? Right? How can they recognize? Basically, they give us these details, right? Or the client ID and everything. Whoever created a new client, right? They can give the details and then we register it and then we provide them the client and client secret to them, right? The other one. There's two ways. Like suppose they ask us to create a client or they give their details, right? Like suppose any learning tutorial is there. It was a redirect URI or something. And we can create a client with the client ID and everything. Client secret. And we give them this information. Like this is your client we have created with this information. Then they will hit it. Then we will hit it. They will get a response over there. They will fetch the response from our result. Because the other client also do some little bit settings over there, we can provide them this authentication services. But then later on they will store this information also there because there's also other application running, right? They will fetch the details from authentication detail from us and they can save the access token or save the access token information or they can compare it as well, like that. Basically the client, we call it integrate the client. First the client give us the information or give us some JSON file. Like this is my details. This is my client name and something. This is the redirect URI where I want to redirect to the authentication and everything. Now I need to set up this. Then we set up these details as per the client details. Now, once we set up that, then we ask them to authorize and test it with those details. Like that, it works. In line number 2, can I make it as a easy links? You can do that. These details, all these details provided by the client, they want us to create, right? You need to change the redirect name, client name, because it has already been created. You want to update the redirect URL, the current client, right? Then we need to update it. Before that, if you can create a new client, I'll come to the creation part, updation part as well. Now this new client has been created. Check here, client ID. It will create a search. The client ID here, this client ID. See, they have created with a unique ID, right? Client ID. Now, as they see this registration access token as well, right? With the given redirect URL, it is created now. Now go back. Now go back and this registration client, right? This is created with the registration access token and the 15th number. And can you save this one somewhere? Have full details. We won't need that if you just don't want to take a risk like it got removed. Just copy full result here. We will use this registration access token to read that line. Now can you create a new request in client? In Postman, correct. One new request to read that line. And we will now try to read it because we have created it now. We'll try to read it as well. Read the details of the client. With the use of that registration access token, right? You can see the client. Now this one up here, the link remains same. Can you make it the GET request? And now in a register after register, can you make a question mark and client aid? Question mark and copy that client it client hyphen id equal to. Then can you copy the client it from the save request? Saved. Here would be the client it at this one. Copy that. Well, this client we will now read. Go to the authorization part, authorization parameter. No sorry headers. Go to the headers. Here, instead of content type, can you write authorization? I do the authorization. And here a bearer. After bearer, put that registration access token. B could be capital and space. And then copy that registration access token. Copy that from the saved request. Go there and copy the registration access token 15th number. It's a value. Copy the value. Copy it and send it now. Hit the send request. Now you will receive that all these details, your client name and everything. This is how you will read the details of your client. Now, next you need to see how you can update. Now suppose you need to update the grant type, something, right? Right, we can go to the client once. Go to the client on UI. Open the client. This is the only right. We will get FC1, right? FC26, which go up on that. And see, you have the scroll down as you don't have a scope, right? And we can update the scope and go to that advanced one. No, not update here. We will update through API. And let's show you, currently it's a blank, right? Scroll up. Go to advanced. We have grant type authorization code, but we can update with the one more, right? Not here. We will update with the API. Now go to the Postman now. We had one more request. One more request. Go to the 3D again. The duplicate area you're doing right here. Name update. Updatee you can put. Update client. And now authorization. Go to authorization part. You go to header part, header part. Here you put the authorization and bearer, and with that the registration access token. And then you need to, can you copy from dynamic client registration? Can you copy the body part, your dynamic registration API? Here in Postman only. This one. Copy this full part. and go to update client or paste over there. Name update client. You can click left side as well. I didn't get you right. Now you need to copy these details and paste into the update client. AP is the update client only, right? You copied it. I didn't see that. Then it's already there. Now you need to add a client ID. Go that saving request, go to the request we saved. We need to put client ID and client secret in this request. Copy that client ID from here. Full line till 16 with client ID value, with double quotes and everything. No, I will copy the fulfill double quotes till comma. Full line, copy that, and put after that client URI. After fourth line, put comma also after JView KUI. I have none of this one. It's fine, we need to put it, but put it also after fourth line as well. Got it. Now go back and you copy the same way. Copy the client secret. Client secret, no. Must created the client secret as well. This one 22 line number. Copy full 22 line number. Now we need to put this grant type of scope up and run. I'll just give you these two lines. Copy that and put into your body. We'll now update the scope and grant types that we're looking at. Can I paste after that? Put comma and paste it. Remove the comma at last 8 lines. That won't require. Now I'll make this request put instead of post you need to put. Go to the headers once we had added the registration token, right? And go to body once again. We need to put the client ID as well. Go to after the URL, after root/register, question client type, and ID we need to put because we need to get client ID where we need to update. Where can I? In a URL after root/register. Yes, we have copied the below one. It's coming right. Copy that. Because we are testing with the same client. Here we are. Now we will update. Now update that. Can I hit? You can hit now. Well, it's scopes required. Well, it's scopes. Open ID. Make it 1 only for now. That's fine. Remove it. Remove grant, which one? Profile. Send it. Did you click on send? Yes, yes, yes. Then it's. See this chain. Can you make scope right? I guess we need to do something. Can this come change the scope value? Scope value. Right. Remove open ID2. Right. Can I remove this one? Remove this one and write the right note again. Scopy, click on it. I think scope request, why not? Let me see. It should update the scope. Is saying invalid scope request. Invalid client metadata. Something is not correct in the client. Client ID, put the client go above. We put the redirect. Go above, go above. Client name. Client name. Can you update the redirect URI? I think. Client redirect URI. Can you see what the value we have? This is the different one. I think redirect URI. This is the different one. That is the different one. Copy that. Can I copy this one? I can copy that one. I think this is the mistake. And can you check what's the client name over there? Client name. Client name here. He's live client. He is live, I think. 1010. 109 number is live client that you need to copy. Go to that, I guess. Now, can you send? Still client name. Redirect URI. We have updated client name. Client ID we gave. Client secret we gave. Client name. Where's the client URI? Can you check the client URI? Fifth line. Can you copy the fifth line as well? This is same. And this is same. The same. That looks fine. Client name is fine. Client URL is fine. Scroll down once. Client secret. Can you remove the scope part for now? Scope part or client secret? Then it's client secret we need. Remove the scope part. And try send request again. Now it's coming. I need to do scope. Something is failing, not updating the scope. I guess we need to create a twist scope and then we can update it. That's why it didn't give scope initially, right? I guess we need to give scope initially, then it will work. Not asking to update the That's fine if you see the grant type would be updated in your API. Check that. Which one? In our check that your API in AMMP console. Grant type that is getting updated there. Refresh that one. Refresh your page. Now go to advanced. The implicit has been added right. That's how we can update. How much of a scope? I guess we need to go to the request 1C if you're getting any scopes. Go to request, not here request. Request means that full request where we are checking right. We have copied to Notepad. Go to the Notepad area C. Do you have any scope parameter here? Scroll down. Scroll down. And go back. Go to the read request once. Go to the read client. See, you can search scope. Do you see scope value anything? Search scope. No problem. Now we can also can delete the client as well. Right? Can you get one more command? We'll test with the delete command as well. And same can you with root to registered client ID. Put the client ID in your URL and the authorization same bearer. They are right. Not here, not here. Sorry, that one. I go to header. Header right. This one, and we can make the request to delete instead of put to make the request to delete. Now this one authorization and click on the send request. It's basically, it means like we deleted. Go back to this client. After clicking it, this access token become invalid. That's why in the go try to read the client once. What you'll read? One. Click that. See, now you aren't able to read it as well because after clicking on the delete one, right, it expired your access token. That's why it's giving you the information. The access token is expired, right? That's why now you're not able to read it as well, because after hitting the delete command for your client ID with the registered tokens, that expired your token, and now this client is not valid. Now you can't authorize or test or read or get that to this client. That's how this dynamic client registration works, where we can update the client as well, read the client, and provide. These are the API commands we can use to perform all this. Next year we have to discuss. This is complete dynamic client registration, right? This is complete dynamic client registration. Complete dynamic registration and then read, update and delete, right? Right? We have to discuss one more part regarding OIDC. That's the OIDC discovery. What's that? You are asking how this relying parties like clients discover they won't go to the authorization provider for an end user, right? Means how the legs was. A TMA is hitting or trying to get your user right. How they got to know? Like you, with which OpenID provider they have discovered how they know that right. They need to see, they need to get the relying party, like client also can request this O2 provider configuration, right? How we can fetch this full open ID open provider configuration in terms of like Fogger or KM is the open provider, like client. Are we into discovery like OIDC discovery? What's that? Like when we have the client, how like when client type authenticator with the OpenID provider, with the help of OpenID provider, right? How the client knows or relying party knows what's the which open provider, OpenID provider is using, right? How they won't go to know the OpenID configuration as well, right? It should be open for the end user or for the relying party. They can ask for this. They go to know like how, from which configuration they're getting the request right. For that one, we have this and we need to enable this OpenID configuration for the user. If we go into the realm and then services O2 provider, again services O2 provider and OpenID connect, right? And here if you see, we have this OpenID discovery. It will be enabled by default. By default it's enabled. If you see checking yours, it will be enabled right now. we need to enable it. By default, it could be disabled. But to check at the OpenID provider details or IDC provider details, we need to save the changes. Now what it will do, it will fetch the OpenID configuration details for the user O2 provider. Now if I need to hit that request, sometimes actually it's easy. I will get more and more requests. New request. OpenID configuration. Now I will go to this one. I checked it here. Hello, hello. This is my OpenID configuration. After you all do reom root, I need to put this well-known OpenID configuration that I have. You know O2, well-known OpenID configuration, right? This is actually this question I see in certification as well. They ask which endpoint used for the OpenID configuration. This one O2 realm OpenID configuration, and they will. We don't need to put any other further details because we are fetching the OpenID configuration. What are the OpenID provided we are using in terms? Here is for Joe. If I hit it, I should get the request. See, I get this full request of this OpenID configuration. If any line party or client is asking, we can give these details. These are very large information. OpenID providers which have the request parameter what interruption, their username times support, ID token encryption value, user attention, endpoint claim support, write token, endpoint, and everything. This gives a full values for your OpenID provider, right? O2 provider, which O2 provider using? What are the properties they are using? This basically gives you all this information for the OIDC discovery. It allows like they need to find out, the line party need to find all these details for these users, how they are. They let the line party key clients discover the O2 provider for end user, how they got to know from which O2 user, which O2 provider using. With this endpoint, they can fetch the details for the O2 provider and they can use it. That client can request the O2 to provider configuration. When they hit this endpoint from running ForgeRock AM, like we know, they will fetch this. All these details. This is one of the OpenID configuration that we should know all there. This is the one of like question I see in the certification as well. They ask how you can fetch the OpenID configuration, which endpoint you will use. This is another part over here. and we need to see about the session as well. Here we have ID token as session. We can enable the ID token as session as well for endpoints, right? Basically, we can enable these sessions for the ID token as well. To enable the sessions as well, the topic here, if we go, and I'm going to go real name services, same in O2 provider. Advanced OpenID Connect. Authorize your IDCS as a client. We can use those clients where if you need to use a session for the ID token, we can copy the client values over here. And you need to, like this one, sorry, like the channel is O2. If I press the name ID over here and then bottom services O2 provider and launch open ID connect. Oh, here we saw an add new client. Again, just it changes and I need to enable the session when I want it. I'm sure that we need to check our enabled session. We need to enable it. What is this? Is I'm enabled, it will store that OpenID sessions as a token system. If we need to use a session ID from the ID token, they're provided, we can enable the session. If we need to use ID token as the session cookie, when you authenticate, you get the SSR token, right? That could be used as that ID token can be used as an SR token. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.